Hello everybody, and welcome back to Animal Crossing City Folk. It looks like it's gonna rain today. Good thing I have my umbrella with me then. Now, we're going to quickly water these and then rush off to Nook's, because I really want to check the morning turnip price. Because it's like Thursday, and we have yet to have a good turnip price. It is getting kind of concerning. I think it's Thursday. Yeah, it is Thursday. So, kind of regretting buying so many. I also know I should really start talking to my animals more, but I have a new reason today why the episode might be a little short. Oh, okay, point special. I somehow managed to cut my tongue, and it hurts to move it. Moving it means talking. Now, I can still talk. Like, this has been a thing for a few days, but I know the less I talk, the better it'll heal, the faster it'll heal. And it healing would be very preferable. Though, I honestly don't want to end up with another, like, 7-minute video. I don't mean to sell. I want to turn prices. 57. Nook, you're killing me, man. I mean, generally, the more I talk, the less it ends up hurting. So, I don't know. I think it's just I'm getting used to it. Hurting kind of thing. Might be the case. Honestly, I have no idea how I even did it. Yeah. It just kind of started hurting one morning. I was like, oh, jeez, what did I do? And then I was eating some corn, and oh, that's blood. And yeah, that was an experience. I don't think I'll be able to eat corn on the cob for a while, because I have this thing about me. Someone else's blood, I could bathe in it. Which I know that's disgusting, but that gets my point across. I can handle other people's blood. My own, the moment I see it, I get really lightheaded, and I can't stand seeing my own blood. Which I feel is perfectly reasonable. That belongs inside of me. I shouldn't be seeing it. Even though I suppose technically, in a way, I'm seeing through it. Technically. Body's weird. We have not had a fossil around in a while. That or I've just missed it every time. We also have a lot of flowers that are looking like they're gonna wilt. So that's kind of concerning. Today will at least be probably, I'd say, close to 15 minutes, so. I say that because I want to wait for the afternoon turnip price, and that would mean, you know, still playing at noon. And it's 11:51 now, so. Right, me too. There we go. This Wiimote is dying. I really need to get around to just syncing the one I have connected to the Switch to this, but not Switch, the one connected to the Wii U. So many Nintendo systems. I actually kind of wish, this is on topic with Nintendo anyway, I wish that you could sync a gamepad for a Wii U with the Switch. And the main reason why I say that is that would be great for games like Splatoon. Because one of the biggest complaints I've heard people mention about Splatoon 2 is that it's so hard to look at the map. Because you have to pull it up and it covers your screen, and you really can't do a whole lot while you're looking at it. Making it not as useful as the gamepad, where a good player would play in a way that they could just look slightly down and they could see their map. Because the map was on the gamepad. Well, I mean, gyroscopes are in the gamepad. They could have it so that you could sync it to the Switch and then use the gamepad as your Joy-Cons, basically. That would also mean anyone that has a Wii U wouldn't need to buy 2 sets of Joy-Cons. They could, you know, just have the one that came with the Switch and still play with a friend in a game that requires you to have both Joy-Cons. Like, I imagine it could work. It would just take Nintendo doing it. And I mean, it's not exactly in their best interest to do that, because you can get gamepads on the cheap these days. Because there were a lot of Wii U's made. And, well, you can probably go on eBay and get a gamepad for like $10, and Nintendo's not getting any of that $10. Now, if they charge you $60 for another set of 2 Joy-Cons, then yeah, they're getting that money. They're getting all of that money. Well, except for what the retailer takes. Oh, excuse me. But they're getting the majority of that money. Oop, is that a fossil? I think that is. That's my umbrella. That's my shovel. Hey! Finally found a fossil. Wonder how long that one's been there. Looks like we have a reason to go to the museum today! Hooray! Then again, I think also Nintendo could really benefit from either fully moving everything from the first Splatoon into the second game, like maps, weapons, everything. Maybe not like the specials, because those were overpowered. I honestly don't miss most of them. The only one I miss is Echolocator, because that was just a good special in my opinion. That wasn't overpowered. It was a balanced special, meaning no one uses it. So go on, Dontail. We already have one of those. But like, they need to move the maps and weapons over. All of them. There's a lot of them that just are not in the second game yet. Now, a few of them wouldn't make sense to move over right now, and I get that, and that is the Sheldon's Picks weapons. Because from what I understand, these Sheldon's Picks weapons were added in basically as one of their final updates to try and give some weapons relevance in the meta. Like, that makes sense. Usually the Sheldon's Pick weapons will be a vastly different playstyle from what that weapon is actually meant to do. Like an ink brush built for actual combat instead of turfing the ground. I know, it's weird. Sheldon has weird ideas. It's still bad for combat, but it's fun. Like, I'll never deny that the brushes in Splatoon are fun. Because they are. They're just bad. Like, they're fun, bad weapons. Which, saying that, this is going to be a bit of a weird transition. So I'm going to go from talking about Splatoon to talking about Pokemon. Now, this is kind of relevant because I have been doing a Pokemon Black Nuzlocke challenge on my Twitch. Now, one of the Pokemon I've wanted to get for my team is a Stoutland / any of its line. The reason for that is... Whoop, Benedict wants something. Oh, he's calling me darling too. Yo, but notice you have a ship's cannon. Yeah, I do. I've worn one for myself for so long because it's so sweet. Take it. You're really gonna give it to me? But I can't just accept it for free. As my way of saying thanks, please have 417 bells, Ahoo. I think I can just buy another one from Nook, I'm not worried. Because we have it, it's in our catalog now, so. Yeah, I've wanted to get a Stoutland, and I've had a few people question why I want one. Because aren't those bad Pokemon? That's what Chugger Conroy said. Well, Chugger Conroy's wrong. His entire basis as for why the Stoutland family is bad, this family of physical attackers that learns moves that give them amazing amounts of type coverage. Like, just running down the line, they have the Stoutland family will learn normal type moves, a good dark type move, a really good electric move, a good enough ice and fire move, and in the newest generations learns the best physical fairy move in the game. It has so much type coverage that it's actually a little unreal. But for some reason, that means it's bad, because it doesn't learn... Well, it doesn't have great special attack, but learns Thunderbolt. And that's about it for its good special attacks. Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball. It doesn't even learn a good special normal type attack. Like, his reasoning is just wrong. Now, I could understand not liking it because its better ability is really situational and depends on how you're building your team. That being Sand Rush. Sand Rush is amazing if you can reliably get Sandstorm in effect, because that is going to make Stoutland an amazing sweeper. Honestly, the main reason why Stoutland tends to bounce between UU and PU is usually with the favor of Sandstorm teams, or just generally weather teams in general, because it is powerful enough to kick it in UU. I mean, yes, it is currently sitting in PU, but not because it has no special attack. It's currently sitting in PU because its other ability, Intimidate, isn't great. Let's talk to Amelia. Oh, hello, darling. You're a morning person, aren't you? You always seem so vivid. Lately, I've been becoming fascinated with digging for fossils, Woomy. Watching the ground just for the right spot, then plunging my shovel in the ground. It's as exciting as grabbing the last outfit in a crowded fashion boutique, Woomy. Fair enough. Like, that has frustrated me since I heard him saying that in his Let's Play of Pokemon Black and White. Like, he's literally condemning this entire family of Pokemon because it can't use Shadow Ball and Thunderbolt. That's like saying... I don't know, let's try and think of a good example legendary. Here's one. Darkrai is useless because it doesn't have great physical attack, yet it learns things like Night Slash. Like, everyone knows Darkrai is amazing. It used to actually be a lot better than it is today. But for some reason, it doesn't have... It doesn't have enough physical attack to make good use of its physical attacks. Well, that means it's garbage. Like, that reasoning is so flawed. Darmanitan, one of the best sweepers to come out of Black and White. Well, that Pokemon must be terrible because it doesn't have great special attack. I mean, honestly, in one of its forms it is pretty bad, because it just doesn't learn moves to complement its types. And that is the Zen mode Darmanitan. Part of its issue is just simply that it only gains Zen mode at 50% of its HP, yet it's a special attacking mode. Yeah, I should probably go sell this fish too, shouldn't I? Yeah, I'm getting pretty full of fish and stuff. Like, I hope everyone here is getting my point. Like, I think that's a pretty good example of, Chugga Conroy himself, not to even sound rude towards him, he is very knowledgeable in those games. But that is a good example of personal bias taking precedent. Because, literally, if you look at Black and White, the Stoutland family evolves at the same levels as a starter Pokemon. with more balanced stats than all of the starters. It's basically a balanced version of all 3 starters mixed into one, with better type coverage than any of the starters. And better abilities, because let's face it, the starter abilities are terrible. They always have been. Like, it is, in defensive stats-wise, bulkier than Emboar. It has a better general bulk than Superior, with also being stronger. And it has a better balance for stats than Samurott does. It's just, in general, the best of the lot of them. Like, it's better than all 3. And given how in the early game you have so few choices for other actually good Pokemon, I mean, what other options do you have? Purloin? / Liepard? That thing is a weather support Pokemon, if you can get it with Prankster. It's literally a support Pokemon for weather teams these days. It's just there to get your weather up. That's all it's really ever been used for competitively. Yeah, I might as well continue doing stuff, because I want to keep ranting. Like... you have Liepard, Watchog, which is honestly one of the worst Pokemon Nintendo has ever even conceived. Patrat has the lowest base stat total of every Unova Pokemon. It is literally the worst Pokemon in the region on base stat total. Then you have Lillipup. Or Audiano, because you can also get Audianos that early. Both of which are honestly pretty good Pokemon. Audiano is a lot of bulk in a relatively easy to get package. Honestly, myself, I would suggest for anyone doing a Nuzlocke challenge on Pokemon Black and White, get yourself an Audiano. Or Audino. It's Audino. I call them Audiano, because that's what I've always read the name as. I think it's Audino, though. But still, get yourself one. You will not regret having it. Because it has the bulk to just take on mostly everything, and it learns Secret Power super early, and it'll also help you catch more Pokemon. Which in a Nuzlocke is very important, to have a Pokemon to help you catch Pokemon. That is really bulky and can take hits. Like, an Audino can take hits for days. Because it is really bulky. It's another Pokemon that mostly is sitting in such a low tier because what it does isn't in favor, but I honestly have used them quite successfully in UU. Now that Mega Audiano is a thing, the importance of normal Audiano isn't as great, because Mega Audiano, in my opinion, is just a better Pokemon for doing what Audiano does. Which generally is Toxic Stall. I'm that kind of person when using Pokemon competitively. I like my Toxic Stalling, because it really pokes holes in opponents' teams. Like, if you ever think you've built a solid competitive team, test it against Toxic Stalling. Which, for those of you who might not know, Toxic Stalling is when you teach a Pokemon Toxic, Wish, Protect, and some other etc. move. My usual other move of choice is Taunt, because Taunt prevents Heal Bells. And it'll also prevent another Toxic Stall Pokemon if you're both using the same Pokemon. As long as you're faster, you will prevent them from doing anything, and they now have to struggle. Or switch. Both of which are not ideal. I mean, honestly, if you can't beat through a really bulky Pokemon that is going to be recovering at least 50% of its HP a turn, well, every other turn, basically, because it's going to be protecting every other turn, then go back to the drawing board. You will run into a Toxic Staller, and you will lose to it. Because they are good. I'm honestly waiting for the moment that... Oh, hi, Tank. Alright, Espoo. Are you ready for a super hardcore question? If all that was left in this world was Felicity and me, and you, and let's say Felicity had a round carpet, who would you choose, me or Felicity? You. Good answer. Good answer, Espoo. That's what I like about you. When it comes to your buds, you're solid like a rock sandwich. Oh yeah, funny thing, I actually have a round carpet, and it's all yours. Thanks, buddy. Now an official member of the Tank Club for Advancement of Extreme Ratness. It's good to know you'd be there to spot us on the squat rack. Spot us on the squat rack anytime. Kapow. Fair enough. I'm gonna head back off to Nooks. But yeah, like, I haven't actually watched a whole lot of his Black and White series, like Chugger Conroy, because of that whole thing with Stoutland. Because I remember I commented on his video really early, and I don't think it was ever addressed. I don't know if anyone else even noticed my comment, because he does tend to get a ton of them really, really quickly. So I probably just got lost in the shuffle. But like, Stoutland is a better Pokemon than the starters, and yet he was talking such high praise about all of them. Yet the moment he gets to Stoutland, it's, oh, well, this isn't all that great, and because of how the leveling works, you might not want to catch a Lillipup, even though leveling it up to fight the first gym is not hard, and you'll probably have it done. Like, especially if you know what's coming, Lillipup is amazing. Even if you don't know what's coming, Lillipup is also still amazing. Like, okay, the first gym in Black and White will always, the final battle will always have a Pokemon that has the type advantage over your starter. Meaning your starter is not the best in that fight. But you know what? None of them have a fighting move, which is the only weakness of a normal type. So use your Lillipup. If you've been using it from the moment you caught it on the first route you can catch Pokemon, it should be around level 10 by the time you're at the first gym, which is the level you should be at for that first gym. Like, I have done this multiple times myself. I have yet to find a point where my Lillipup could not hold its own in that gym. Especially with the buff to Tackle. I forget if I watered these, so I'm watering them again. As much as it is raining, I know I don't have to, but I'm making sure. I know today I was just ranting about things, but that legitimately bugged me. And, I mean, there's nothing wrong with not liking a Pokemon. And I think that's all it was really a case of, is that Emil just does not like the Stoutland family that much. You can't fault him for that. I just wish he wouldn't have presented it as so much of a matter of fact, this Pokemon is not good. Because the thing to keep in mind is, literally, with the right set, any Pokemon can be great. I mean, I myself am someone who has used a Love Disc in Ubers, and only lost 1 of 8 battles I had. This was before Swagger was banned. I'm willing to bet I was part of the reason Swagger was banned. But, like, currently, as I mentioned, Stoutland is not very popular. Neither are Sandstorm teams. When Sandstorm teams were everywhere, you were seeing Stoutlands in Overused all the time. They never quite made it to Ubers, but the Storm teams never make it to Ubers because Rayquaza's around. You literally cannot do a Storm team in Ubers. Your opponent will more often than not have a Rayquaza, and it will just remove your weather effect. Simple as that. I mean, it's... Whoops. I did not mean to pick that up. I mean, it is a good Pokemon. And people shouldn't exactly be afraid of using it. Because it is really good. You shouldn't have to wait till around the level 20-30 range to catch a Herdier because, oh no, raising that Lillipup is so hard. It's not. Like, I'm honestly thinking of soon starting my own Pokemon Black series. I'm not going to be anywhere near as in-depth on all the secret stuff as Emil was, but I'm still going to be attempting to do my own bios. And I'm going to put a definitive rest to that. Because Emil has even mentioned before himself, he's not a competitive Pokemon player. I'm not either, but I'd say I'm closer to being one. And I'd only say I'm not because I only play competitively on Pokemon Showdown. Because I just do not have the time to train up a team in-game, and I refuse to cheat to get a Pokemon. I mean, that's just how I am. I mean, in Omega Ruby, I was actually playing competitively a fair bit. Because the super training made everything easy. But yeah, I should probably end this off. So, with that rant out of the way, I thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time for more Animal Crossing City Folk. See you all then.